Welcome to Broadband Action. This is a podcast presented by the Community Broadband Action Network. And today you have two of the CBAN group members on the call today for the podcast. I'm Curtis Dean, and I'm one of the co-founders. And joining me today is our digital navigator, Brianna Dillavou. Bri, thanks for coming on.
Hi.
Not excited
it's so
to get
nice
you
to be here. It's been busy.
It's been busy.
The closer we get to the holidays, more people are getting online and they're shopping. So more people are reaching out, asking for help. I am our digital navigator. So I'm kind of the go-to person that people reach out to when they need some help. And I've been getting quite a few calls.
Well, that's fantastic. And our topic today is really is online holiday shopping and how to do it well, how to do it safe. And, tis the season, right? I know that Amazon has their Black Friday sale will be the day after Thanksgiving, and hard to believe that's only 3 weeks away. And that's really when the holiday shopping season begins in earnest for a lot of folks. So, Bri, we brainstormed a little while back, and we thought this would be a great topic for people because, a lot of folks just don't understand that shopping online safely and smartly is not something that's just necessarily comes by second nature to a lot of people.
It really doesn't. And there's so many different shops and ideas and places you can buy now with social media that you really have to be conscious about what you're clicking and who you're giving your money to.
Absolutely. And one thing I would say, this is not really a holiday shopping safety tip, but I would certainly promote the idea that doing your online shopping, try to shop local. If you can, try to identify local vendors that you in your community or in your region and try to utilize their services. I was in Dubuque, Iowa here last weekend for a little getaway. My wife and we went to a couple of shops there, and almost every one of those little shops had a card or something to say shop our stuff online, and we picked up several of those. So don't just assume that you have to buy everything on Amazon. If you can support those local businesses, it just lifts everybody. So there's my plug for buying local this holiday season. Well, Bri, you put together a really nice list here, and I'm just going to bring it up on the screen, and we're going to be going through this as we continue with our podcast. Now, some folks are not watching this beautiful graphic you have because they're listening on their way to work or whatever on the podcast. So I'll be reading each of these online holiday safe shopping tips, and then I'm going to have you do a deep dive on each of them. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect.
Great. So number one here, we'll start at the top left and just work our way through. Shop reliable websites and get there safely. So how do we do that?
So shop reliable websites. There are the main players that we know of: Amazon, Walmart, Target, Best Buy. Those major sites, it's not only knowing that you're on that site, but you're on the actual site that is registered to that company. So anymore, you really need to make sure that when you are getting online, that you're not just clicking on random links, typing in Amazon and clicking whatever comes to there. You need to look at that address bar. Does it have the www.https, the precursors, and does it actually say Amazon.com? Inspecting those elements and getting to where you want to go safely is really important. And also those reliable websites. So we kind of mentioned before the whole social media. You have TikTok Shop is a new thing. Facebook Marketplace, that can get kind of dicey sometimes. You have a lot of spam and scams on there. You really need to be paying attention to the places that you are going, that they are appropriate, that they're reputable. Do they have reviews? Are they there with a good support system? Do they have good return policies? Overall, when you get to the website, what does the initial feel like?
That gut feel can really help you steer clear of some problems. I think we've all received or stumbled upon websites that are clearly not for real. I know at least once a week I just get an email invoice from somebody saying, "Thank you for purchasing this. Here's your receipt." And although that's not really shopping related, that's a safety thing, because if you click on that receipt, you're likely getting infected. Your computer's getting infected. You're getting redirected to something you don't want. Again, we'll do an email safety tip one of these days. How does that sound? We'll save that.
We're actually going to talk about it here in a little bit, because again,
Okay.
looking at those addresses, and they like to, like in Amazon, they'll replace the O with something else, or
Yes.
the
Yep.
Z will be a 3, or they do that with all kinds of things. I think the post office is one that's really bad as well, right?
Yes.
This time of year,
Yep.
you got
I've
the
seen those.
package. Well, I didn't
Yeah.
order anything. And then you're like, well, maybe someone's sending me something. So you really have to kind of be aware of what's going on and those addresses and what you're clicking on before you click on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go on to the next point here. Beware of seasonal scams. I can't believe anyone would try to scam someone during the holiday season. Where's their spirit?
So when we're talking about seasonal scams, going back to your emails, those like you received a package, click on this to claim your package and figure out where to pick it up. Or here's an invoice for something that you bought and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't buy that. So you click on it to investigate, and now you have some malware or some viruses on your computer. It's really important that you're looking into where that address goes and where you're buying from, because there is a lot of things like fake e-gift cards. That's one of the major ones that runs around holidays that we hear about every year. Excuse me, cars driving by. That we hear about every year is the fake e-gift cards. You get online, you might get an email, and it might look like it's from PlayStation or another company that you would regularly buy a gift card from. And it says, okay, here's a discount, buy $50, get another $10, get another $10 gift card. So you click on it, you want that deal. Well, that's where you're getting into the weeds. You're giving them your credit card information and you're allowing them to take that money. So you have to pay attention. Is this gift card actually coming from PlayStation or McDonald's? A lot of fast food restaurants are a big one that people buy online now. Is it coming from Amazon? So that is, it seems like it's a lot of a mental load, but it's really doing that research in the beginning part to pay attention to what you're looking at. That's really going to save you some hassle, money, and your safety and security in the long run.
I think the way I always think of it to myself is think before you click, because and not only that, but if something sounds too good to be true, it almost always is too good to be true. So those are all great. And unfortunately, this is the time when predators try to make their claims to make their money, because they know people are shopping and they know they are wanting to fill those baskets, or not baskets, fill under the tree. And this is a time to try to get them. So good plan. All right, we're going to move it on. Conduct research before buying. You kind of hit on that already, but what are some other tips on that?
So I already have a little bit, but again, all of these are going to tie back to the kind of that being aware aspect. When we say conduct research before buying, there's some key things that you can look at when you're on a website, is this product going to be what I want it to be? Is this website and is this buyer reputable? So going in and looking at the reviews, is this product says it's been out for a year, but there's no reviews? That's kind of, you get a little iffy in there. Actually read through some of the reviews, because a lot of times you can look and you can see if they're copy and paste reviews, and they're bots. It's different people. They're saying the same thing over and over. So those little clues that add up that says, okay, this is all generated stuff that they're putting on here to make you want to buy this product. They're trying to look legit. So looking into some of those items that are readily available to you, that are right in front of your face, and then actually researching the product that you're buying. So big ticket items are really big this time of year: TVs, appliances, things of that nature. Go on there. Is that appliance really going to be is it reasonable to have that product discounted that much? What am I actually buying? Because then you can get into some other issues of, am I buying stolen goods? Is it not going to work? What is the backstory to this? So really digging into what's going on before you click and make that purchase.
I know that one thing that I always try to do, if I'm going to make especially a major purchase, right, and it's something I plan to buy online, is I'll comparison shop with other sites that I know are legit and trustworthy, and see if this thing I've just stumbled across seems like it's too good to be true. You know, if in my case it's a gadget, usually if Best Buy is still $300 higher, or the same way as some other electronic retailers, then I know it's probably not legit. So that's a good way to do that too.
Well, and anymore, there's so many websites out there that
Oh
you
yes.
hear about them all the time. You see the ads on Facebook and Instagram and other social media sites for things like Wish and all of those that have kind
Yep.
of those weird products where you kind of get it in the mail and it's not exactly what you ordered or what you think you were ordering. So you got to be aware of some reputation. The reputation of where you're buying from is a big one.
Absolutely. Always think twice before clicking on links or opening attachments. Oh, buddy, that's a big one.
Have we not hit this on the head enough yet? Okay, once more. Make sure you always think twice before clicking on links or opening attachments. Anymore, you get them through text message, email.
Yeah.
If you have any kind of instant messaging app for work, they can still get through spam filters on there. They'll send you links. So one, know what is normal behavior. So do you have a app or a text messaging notification set up for Walmart? Is it normal that Walmart would be texting you?
Right.
Did you actually order something? If you, it is, I kind of touched on this before, it is gift giving season. So sometimes we get packages in the mail, things like that, that we don't know are coming. So we have to be conscious of that. But it's the post office using a little bit of common sense. The post office is going to come to your house and they're going to deliver. There's going to
Right.
be some kind of human contact there for that
Yeah.
nature. But also, this is important for avoiding scams and malware. You might think that you are opening a link to Walmart and it looks completely the same. It goes through the same process. And it's just that final page. It takes you to a different website and you're not actually checking out with Walmart or Amazon or whatever retailer it is. You're actually on you're on a theft site where they're
Right.
just to steal your information. So
All right. Keep devices updated. Another one that I'm always preaching to people, but it's hard, I know, for some people, but it's so vital if you're going to be using a computer or your device for online commerce, isn't it?
it really is, because those updates are crucial to the security features of your device. That is going to be when there is a threat detected, there's people working on the tech end of it to correct those errors so that people can't get to your information. And all of those come to your device through those updates, through those upgrades, the little patches and things that you see come in. So they are all important. You need to make sure that you keep those devices updated so that you have the latest features built into your device to help you. It's taking that proactive approach. I
Hmm.
can't even imagine the amount of pop-ups and spam and ad that we would be receiving if our devices did not have some of these built-in features that block these automatically to keep us safe. So when you have those things updated and everything is good to go, usually it does it on an automatic cycle. My computer updates sometimes when I don't want it to in the middle of something when you're
Definitely sometimes. Yeah.
working, but it is still important to make sure that you have all of the information on the tech side for your device to keep you safe on from what it can do. So if you're on the lookout, your device is up to date and it's on the lookout, you have that protection there.
All right, on to protect your passwords. This is another one that I've had personal experience with.
Yes, this is kind of blanket across the board, any kind of anything that you have to have a password for. It's not wise to use the same password for everything. You want to kind of, I know it's a hassle for us to remember them. It's so easy saying, I got one password for this, this, and this, and I'm just going to kind of repeat them. But that's where we really get into trouble because once they have one password, then they can
Yeah.
start going to other sites and say, okay, do they have a site here? Do they have an account here? And they can get into that information. So some tips for protecting your password: use a different arrangement of numbers, letters, characters. It doesn't always have to be the uppercase goes at the beginning of the word. I know we tend to do that because we're taught in school the uppercase comes first.
Hmm.
Use numbers, use symbols. There are password generators. Those do come with a little bit of caveat that you have to write them down or you have to put them someplace to remember them because they are randomly generated. And to go for that, make sure that you have your passwords somewhere. I always suggest to people that it seems old school, but write them down because that's about barring a fire. There's, you have that piece of paper there, and that is something you can come back to.
I recently adopted that policy. I was going to dig it out of my desk drawer here, but of a little password book, rather than storing them on the cloud, which I had done in the past. But about a year and a half ago, I had my Microsoft 365 account hacked, and they were able to get in there and find the unlocked spreadsheet that I was using to store my passwords. And fortunately, I headed it off the pass without suffering any financial loss, knock on wood. But somebody in Florida did buy a bunch of shirts at Kohl's on my Kohl's credit card. And thank goodness they spotted it before I did and blocked it. So,
You mean you didn't magically appear in Florida to buy a t-shirt?
I did not. And I don't, I'm not into Converse. So that was not something I would have done.
That just goes to say, like, on the password side of it as well, you really want to make sure that when you put in a password for a website and it asks you if you want to save this password or auto save it to the password book, it's really not wise to do that just because it does go to the cloud. It does go to those places. It's a hassle again, but it really is those extra few seconds that you're taking to keep yourself safe by typing in that password versus having it saved in there.
Yep, absolutely. And a little story there. Whenever people visit my house, which is also my office, and they want to get on the Wi-Fi, and I rattle out the password, and they're like, "Where the heck did you come up with that?" Like, it's a line from a comedy routine that I saw 25 years ago, and it's totally random, but it's just all numbers or it's all letters. But still, I've heard that use sentences, but replace some characters with an ampersand makes a great A in a replacement of a word, or an exclamation mark can replace an L, or ones and twos and whatever. So that's all good. And that tip's tied directly really into this next one about checking your credit card and bank statements regularly, because that's how you're going to find out if something fraudulent has happened in many cases.
Yep. Mobile banking apps are big now. Pretty much every banking institute has a mobile banking app one way or another. So checking your credit card or bank statement through that app, having notifications on, whether that be through text messages or the push notifications that come through on your phone. If you're checking it online, they can send you emails. Really making sure, especially around the times of year when buying increases, that you're paying attention to what's coming and going, and you're verifying, okay, I bought this came out of my account. Really goes back to those basics, kind of sound, you're balancing your checkbook pretty much. This is verified, this is not, and keeping an eye on what's coming and going.
You've got a good bank when they call you when there's a transaction that looks weird.
Yep.
And that's happened to me multiple times over the years. And that's just, it gives you a really good feeling to know they're watching out for you, and that there's an actual human there that's involved with it. So thank your local banker.
They put a lot of work into that. I actually worked in a bank for a bit while I was right after I did my undergrad. And that is a lot of what goes into it, is making sure that these alerts that come in, your bank's going to be really good about notifying you, but they are human, and there is ways that those can get through there. So it takes a whole team. You got to be conscious of what's going on as well.
Absolutely. All right. Use a secure internet connection. Now, what are you talking about there?
Use a secure internet connection. Probably should not go hook up to the Wi-Fi at your local McDonald's to go holiday shopping. So this kind of ties into avoiding public hotspots and computers on the end, making sure that the connection you're using is protected, that there's not other computers on that network that can pull your information. So the network that you're on, when you join that network, if it is not secure, you can have someone from, as long as they have signal, they can jump on and then they can look through your files, look through your information, or they can tag that Wi-Fi and they can be gathering your information as soon as you hop onto it, because that's what Wi-Fi is. We're transferring information. So
I've
really
even heard
making
of,
sure that you're at home. Home is obviously the best place to do that. And secure your internet connection at home. Secure your hotspots or
yeah.
your Wi-Fi. Make sure you have a password on it that's not easily guessed. Check your data. Look for signs that, if you only have one computer and you're using all of your data cap through the month, you probably might have someone else using your internet. So checking those things, being aware of what's going on around you. If you do frequently go use the internet in a public place, use VPNs or other secure measures so that your information is protected through a wall pretty much that someone can't get through.
I have a VPN program that I use is actually written into my uh, antivirus protection subscription. And I always use that when I go, I like to go to coffee shops because I don't like to be stranded in my basement all the time. So I'll go to a coffee shop to work for a couple of hours and I'll turn the VPN on, and it doesn't affect performance at all, but it gives you that layer of protection. So that's really good. And if you don't know how to do a VPN, just do a little Google search from a secure computer, of course, and you'll find out there's millions of them out there of all price levels. So, all right, look for the HTTPS, not HTTP. Now, I'm so glad you have this on here because I was pretty ignorant about that until just a couple of years ago. And I had an instance today where I typed in, there was a website I wanted to go to. I typed in HTTP and not the S, and I got blocked. My browser said this is not a secure site. And then I looked at it and I figured, oh, I need the S. I did the S, boom, came right up. So talk about that.
Yes, so that S in HTTPS stands for secure. It means that you're entering a secure site. So without that, it's an open website. You don't know what's on it. But when you have the HTTPS, it signals to you that there is protection, there's programming there's software there meant to safeguard your information and keep you safe from predators in that sense.
And those websites have because in order to have that S in their URL, they have to prove that they're following certain protocols and such. So, and there are other various agencies that will do that. Well, most web hosts will include that in their web hosting service, but it's a great thing to check for. And finally, avoid public hotspots on computers. What we were just talking about, that can be, especially for things where you're exchanging economic information. It might be okay to get on a public Wi-Fi hotspot and surf Facebook, but probably not going on to buy stuff.
Probably not. One other thing I wanted to point out is when you go to get onto any new internet connection, it's going to tell you right there, like it's either secured or not secured. Like, does it have a password? If you go to a place where you are a customer and you have to purchase something, or you're in a hotel and you have to stay the night, you still need to be cautious because it is an open network, but there are a few more safeguards there in that you have to put in that password. But any network where there's absolutely no password to it, anyone can drive by, anyone can come by, walk by, and log on to, it's not a secure network. And you want to be very cautious about what you do, where you go, what you're searching for, anything on there, because that is going to expose you to potential dangers.
Well, you mentioned a big one, McDonald's. There are a lot of people during COVID, if they didn't have internet at home, they were sitting in the parking lot at McDonald's and in order to do their homework or whatever, but not always the best way to be online safely. That's for sure.
It's just really about being aware of what internet connection you're connected to, what website you're buying from, and what the product is.
Yeah.
What the terms, conditions are. Does it look legit to you?
Great. Well, those are great tips, and hopefully our viewers and or listeners are taking those to heart. And, we appreciate that you've taken the time to listen to this. And Bree, thanks for putting that list together for us. We greatly appreciated that. I think we'll talk to the webmaster and see if we can get that on our website so people can refer to it if they didn't happen to catch it here or they wanted to see the slide you put together, which I thought was very well done, by the way.
Thank you. I tried to keep it festive with the red and green, the snowflakes, but not
Yes.
overdo it. So
Yeah. Well, I think it very tastefully done. All right. Well, thank you very much, Bree, for joining us. Brianna Dillavou is our digital navigator for CBAN, and we've been talking about online holiday shopping safety tips. And we appreciate you all tuning in or watching today here on Broadband Action.